You know, it was a kindness that we wouldn't be allowed to eat of the tree of in the center of the garden, the tree of life, because in our condition of not being fully God realized, it wouldn't be good to live forever in this condition that we're in. But we have partaken of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Every one of us has, because we're always calling things good and evil, which is not a good idea. And I'll tell you why. Because we create with our thoughts and with our words. And whatever we call good is good, and whatever we call bad is bad. We make it so. We're not yet God realized enough, like Jesus was, to be able to look at the one who nails your hands to the cross and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And we have not yet fully realized that how we call things creates how our world will be and continue to be. We have not yet understood that God looked at all He made and called it good, and that's what we should do too. And that God called what is not as though it were, and that's what we should do too. I mean, I think there are some scriptures that say, let the poor say, I am rich, let the weak say, I am strong. We have to call things better. We have to become better storytellers. But what do a lot of people do? And I've been guilty of this too, so I'm talking to myself. We brag about how we call things. We say, I call a spade, or I call it like I see it. And we speak of our fears, and we exaggerate our fears, and we are worry mongers. And a lot of our television reporters are worry mongers, and they are causing the masses to join them in their, I call it fear mongering too. Often preachers will use fear on their congregations. Instead of teaching them, let not your heart be troubled, they try to trouble the heart, and they do trouble people's hearts. I know mine used to be troubled often when I was in church. And when you're coming from a place of being troubled, you're not coming from an empowered place. But I came out of the church many years ago, fed up with their beliefs that they taught. I felt so strongly that there must be a better way than what they taught. And I found it. I found that God dwells within me and within all of mankind, no matter what kind of religion they are in, and that there's many paths that lead to God. And I discovered something about the word worship, and this is important to me. Worship means to work with. So I like to worship God because I like to work with God. Today I feel so much more love for God than I ever could have felt had I stayed in the church. Gone is the fear of God. And now I don't have to feel bad because I haven't personally led anyone to Christ. I don't have to ask them, are you saved? But if I meet someone who's troubled and who wants to talk to me about their troubles, I can easily say, you know, if you can find a way in your heart to forgive that person you're so mad at, then you will be all the better for it, because blessings will come your way when you're able to forgive. And I know if I tell them that, I'm telling them something that's true. So, lately, I've been thinking I should make a stand, a position, and talk about it. And I did a while back when people were attacking Obama about him speaking at Notre Dame. And I want to say this. I'm for gay marriage, because I don't think that the Bible is a criteria to use for moral standards. It's like, my goodness, if the Bible were censored for all the bad morals and perverted things that it has, there would be a lot of it blanked out. And a lot of them committed by some of the men and women that are said to be our models. So no, I don't use the Bible for a standard of morality. So I wouldn't use what it says about gays as a belief to build on, because It also says other silly things like it's an abomination to wear 2 kinds of fabric together or to plant 2 kinds of seed in one place. All kinds of other things that are just kind of ridiculous. So the people who wrote the Bible called a lot of things abominations. And I cannot see, like Pat Robertson, it makes me kind of upset with him when he compares gay people being allowed to marry to condoning those, I can't say that word, philiophiles, you know, the people who molest little children. To compare gay people to something like that is so awful. It shows a lack of understanding on the part of the person who would say something so ridiculous as that, and who would have such an ideal. It makes me not value much whatever else they have to say, because that's obvious. Anyway, I also would like to say that I'm for pro-choice. I don't think a person should get an abortion if they're real far along in their pregnancy, but I certainly encourage it if they need it to get it done early in the pregnancy. Or better yet, I encourage people to use birth control and for that to be made available to everyone who has a need for it. Because then women aren't forced to have a choice of should I abort or should I not. It won't even be a question because they will have had the birth control to prevent the pregnancy in the first place. Well, I've run out of things that I wrote down on my little notebook that I wanted to talk about. So let me think. Is there anything else? My 10 minutes isn't up yet. Surely there is. Something else. Oh yeah, I wish they would make marijuana legal. I have a whole different attitude about the drugs. Not all of them, but marijuana I think is one that should be allowed because it has so many good things it can do for us too. And because I listen to a lot of videos about shamanism. And the shamans take a very powerful drug and it gives them an insight into the spiritual world and gives them great information to bring back to their tribe to help heal them and to help find game when they're looking for where to hunt and all kinds of other things. It opens up to us a spiritual dimension that's unavailable to us while we're so much in our mind. Also, I think young people want to have that kind of experience, but some of them settle for just getting a high off of drugs, and that's not the best use of it. But when it's used in a spiritual kind of way, then I think it's really very revealing and very good. And a lot of the people who are users of marijuana and different things like that, I think what the ones who want to stop it are afraid of is that they won't fight your wars. I mean, you can't get them all disturbed when they're so happy enough that they would go out and fight your wars. Also, it's competition for the industry that sells alcohol and cigarettes and things like that. So there's a lot of reasons that are not so good of reasons that people want to put it down. And they tell lies about some of the effects of it. And that's not good. They should be truthful. There are some bad effects, but there are a lot of good ones too. A lot of times marijuana is used to heal people of different conditions. Anyway, I just have a few feelings that I know my sisters think, well, gosh, she believes in abortion and she believes gay people are okay and she would use drugs. Oh, she's so bad. But I don't feel bad over this. I don't. I don't think we should make ourselves someone that we would set up as a authority over other people, how they should live their lives. I think that's tyranny, the worst kind of tyranny, if we do it in the name of God.